Okay, so today we're going to be brewing an American Pale Ale or American Amber. I've dubbed it Patriot Ale. Also make a smaller beer off the same grain bill called Liberty Lass. And for a Patriot Ale we have 10 pounds of 2-row, half a pound of Crystal 60, 3/4 pounds of Munich, and 1 pound of biscuit. And for our hops, we're going to be using Northern Brewer, Hallertau, and Citra. At Northern Brewer is our bittering hops. We're going to be putting that in right at the beginning of the boil. And with 20 minutes remaining, I'm going to throw in a 1/4 ounce of each of Hallertau and Citra, and then I'll repeat that same process 10 minutes from the end of the boil. Right now, we're going to be heating up our strike water at 167 degrees. We're at 105 now, and when that's done at 167 degrees, I'm going to go ahead and toss that into my mash tun. So that's a cooler mash tun. Got a ball valve on the outside, toilet supply line, braid part on the inside for the false bottom. None of my equipment is fancy or anything like that. I got this stuff for pretty cheap, damn near free. So we'll be back when we're going in for mashing in. Okay, well, I got my strike water in my mash tun, and these are my grains. As you can see, there's crushed grain parts and husks and things. The husks provide a natural filter for at the end of the mash. So we want to separate the grains from the water to create our wort. We're gonna dough in now. Doughing in pretty much entails just mixing the grains with our hot water. And the way I do it is, see if I can do this with one hand. I pour in a little bit. I'll stir it up, kind of like that. Alright. Trying to avoid any dough balls. Dough balls are dry pockets of grain. Dry pockets of grain. The reason we don't want those is because if it doesn't make contact with our hot mash water, we cannot convert those starches into sugar, and we want to get all of the sugar that we can out of our grains. I have 4 gallons of strike water, hoping to hit a mash temperature of 151 degrees. We can't find any dough balls. It's looking good so far. And I'll go ahead and just put the rest of it in there. A little flour. That's fermentable. So there's this big hunk of shit right here, like that. There we go. That's a dough ball. So you just smash that up against your mash tun there and it'll go away. No big deals. Just gonna kind of make sure you got it all together. Oh yeah, looking good, looking real good. Smells awesome. We got Jimi Hendrix on the tunes. Can't get no better than this today. What time is it? Oh, it's beer 15. We'll grab one of those and we'll be right back. Okay, so kind of overshot our 151 mark, but this higher temperature will give us a more fully bodied beer, which I'm a fan of. So what you could do if you wanted to fix this was you just leave the lid open and stir it up until it gets down to the temperature that you want, but I think I'm just going to leave it and see what happens. We also were mashing for 1 hour. So 1 hour, and we'll start my timer. All right, we'll catch you guys in about an hour. All right, our hour of mashing is up, and we are going to start what is called the Vorloff. That is the process of recirculating the wort to get the grains out of it, because when you first turn it on, you'll see little swirls of grain in there. We want to get that out. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill up this quart pitcher a couple of times and dump it back into our mash tun. You can see the little pieces of grain floating around in there. Turn the valve off. Not dump this directly in there, just kind of down the side or over a spoon or something. You don't want to disturb your grain bed too much. The idea of this to help settle the grain bed. It'll act as a natural filter. The color's looking good. You see the grain pieces in there. That's what we're trying to get out. Gonna do that again. Well, it looks like it's running pretty clear, so this will be the last time. And we'll go ahead and start collecting our wort. Hayes Carl playing on the radio. Good Texas country music. Well, that's not Hayes Carl, but I don't know who that is. It's on Pandora. We'll start collecting our wort into our kettle. We're going to do this slowly, because if I was just to rip this ball valve, just rip it open, it would fly, as in come out really fast. That would cause the grain bed to compact, and you would end up with a stuck sparge. So we're going to prevent that by just going slowly. Let's see. It might be a little too fast. Alright, and back that up a little bit. That's about right. While this is collecting, we'll go heat up 3 gallons of sparge water to about 190 degrees, and we're going to do a batch sparge versus a fly sparge. Fly sparging is a process where you'll keep this the water level about 1 inch above the grain bed as it's draining. That takes a lot of babysitting, and it's a little more equipment and something I don't want to deal with. So what I do is I just wait for all of this to drain out. I add my sparge water over my grain bed, stir it around again, and then do another boil off, and continue the process. So we'll start heating up the water, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I got my sparge water heated up to 195 degrees. Instead of picking up this big old heavy hot pot and trying to dump it in there, I got smart, and I'm just going to use this pitcher that I use with Vorloff and dip it, kind of lighten the load a little bit before I try to pour it in there. So just I'm going to do this until I can't dip no more with this pitcher, and I'm going to dump it. This method of sparging is called batch sparging. I believe I said that already, but just to reiterate. The reason that you sparge is the hotter water will dissolve the sugars and extract the most sugars out of the grain for your wort. So we've collected probably I'd say about 2.5, 3 gallons so far. So this 3 gallons should bring us up to about 6.5, something like that. And I'm gonna put the camera down, try to dump the water in. Alright, that's much easier that way. And alright. And same as the mash, we're just going to give this a stir around. And we'll let this sit about 5 or 10 minutes to let the grain bed settle back down. Hey Pumpkin, give me that. That was my assistant brewer. I'm going to check our temperature. We're looking for about 170 degrees for the sparge. Let's see what we got. Oh well, ain't working. Oh man. Okay, so 166. That's pretty good there. 165. Get out of there, baby. Back up. Alright. 164. We're going to let this sit a few minutes. Kind of do its thing. So, we'll be back shortly. Alright. I've ran my boil offs again. And we are collecting our sparge. The remainder of our wort. Guess while that's going, we'll get a tour of my new sweet, expensive looking refrigerator. And there it is. It's a little rusty, to say the least. But it is cold. My hops. It's also got a Hemi. That adds about 20 horsepower. Damn train. So here's my keg set up. I just got this the other day, so I haven't had opportunity. Somehow, the missus put her wussy sauce in my refrigerator. But just got this the other day, so we're gonna put some taps in the door here, so I don't have to open the fridge every time. I'm just running a picnic faucet right now. But the inside of this refrigerator gets 35 degrees Fahrenheit. Most folks write this thing off on account of the rust, but it works real good. I got it for free. Ain't nothing wrong with that. It does look free though, however. Well, we're going to continue to collect the wort. And when that's over with, let's see, we got a ways to go. And so when that's over with, we'll be doing the boil. And I mentioned earlier we're going to be doing a second beer off of this same grain bill, and all we're going to do is I'm going to continue the sparge. We're not going to get a 5-gallon batch of that second beer. It's going to be more like a 3-gallon or a 2-gallon batch. Let's see, 3.5 gallons sounds about right. So I'm going to do four gallons of sparge water again, and then I'm going to collect the wort in this pot, and that's where I'm going to boil it at. So stay tuned. Well, our boil has started, and I have just added 1 ounce of Northern Brewer. I'll wait till the hot break is over. You'll know when the hot break is over because your wort will be boiling, and the foam, see if I can get this on camera without it fogging up. The foam that you see will start folding under itself, and that's how you know the hot break's over. And this big old pot we have here, which used to be a keg, also known as a kegel, you don't really have to much worry about boilovers when you're doing 5-gallon batches like this, because I mean you got so much sidewall. So I used to boil in this guy, and boilovers were something I had to keep babysitting. So I got this keg here for a couple of bucks. I mean, like I said, it was damn near free, and it already had the top cut off, so I didn't have to pay for that or have a buddy do it or anything like that. It was ready. I didn't add any ball valve or anything like that because I siphoned my wort off at the end. But so the boil has just started. I've started my timer for 60 minutes, and I think it we'll see what the schedule says. Move that shit out of the way. Okay, so 40 minutes from now we will add a 1/4 ounce of each of Hallertau and Citra. So stay tuned and we'll get to you in a minute. All right, see y'all. We are now collecting our wort for the second beer. This one's called Liberty Lass. It's had the same grain bill. It's going to have a little bit different hops, which will give it a different flavor profile. This method of what I'm doing here used to be commonplace, called Parti Gyle. It's P-A-R-T-I-G-Y-L-E, Parti Gyle. And the reason they done this was they would take the first runnings, the first beer, and give it to the kings and the noblemen and people of higher stature, and then the smaller beer would be given to the servants, the peasants, and the children. And the reason they done this was because they thought the water wasn't safe to drink because they had no knowledge of pasteurization and bacteria and things of that nature. So the boiling process and beer making made water safe to drink. So pretty much continuing the tradition. I'm going to collect my wort in this pot. It's not going to be much, probably about 3.5, 4 gallons, something like that. I'm going to boil it for an hour, lose about a gallon an hour due to boil off, and I'll end up with like a 2.5, 3 gallon batch of beer. And this will probably be a lighter beer, pretty refreshing. It is hot down here in Texas, and what a beautiful day it is. It's just sun shining. I got cold beer in the fridge. Making 2 batches of beer for the price of 1, and you just got tunes on the radio. You just can't beat that. So see, you can see we got a ways to go. We're collecting a slow rate. Probably might want to knock that down just a notch. I did take some steel cut oats or Irish oats and boiled the shit out of them, and then added them to my mash tun and let it sit for about 30 minutes or so. I don't know what that's going to do to it or the science behind the whole thing, but I'm guessing that the starch from the oats will give it some mouthfeel, because there's not a whole lot of sugar left after this. And I'm thinking about, if I have to, I'll add some dry malt extract to boost up the sugar level, give the yeast something to work on. So we got about, I don't know if you can see that, we got about 28 minutes left in this first hop edition, and we'll be back after that. We have just added our second hop edition with 20 minutes left in the boil. I've also added I don't know if you can see that, it's a Whirlflock tablet. It's a product made from Irish moss. It helps to coagulate the proteins and clear the beer out. So in about 10 minutes we'll be adding our last hop edition for this beer, and that'll be it. So I added a 1/4 ounce of Hallertau and a 1/4 ounce of Citra flower hops, whole flower hops, and we'll see how that affects the beer. So in about 10 minutes I'll be doing the same sort of procedure, except for the Whirlflock tablet, and we'll be right back. All right. Alright, we're on our second beer out of the same grain bill. Wasn't tasting very sweet, so I added what I had remaining of my light malt extract. I put that in there, stirred it up, it came to a boil, and I just added a ½ ounce of Liberty hops for bittering. I hope that's a good bittering hop. I'm just kind of experimenting with this second one. For some reason, out of this little pot, I get a little more of a vigorous boil. I don't know what that's about. If anybody knows, please tell me. Because out of my big pot and my keg, it just kind of simmers. Not nothing like this, but in about 30 minutes, we're going to add. I'm going to continuously hop this one from 30 minutes. So I got my bittering hops in there, and then from 30 minutes, I'm going to continuously sprinkle the hops that I have left in there every 5 minutes or so until I'm all out. I'm trying to space them out over 30 minutes so I don't run out before then. Hoping to do like a flame out edition, but what it is. Started brewing today at noon. It's now 5:05, so 5 hours solid of brewing. I'm on my second beer. I got another hour to go. We'll be back whenever we're cooling our worts and siphoning into our fermenters and pitching our yeast. Alright, see y'all soon. Alright, well, finally made it. It's been 7 hours a day making 2 beers. This is a littler beer, the smaller beer. Only got about, say about 2.5 to 3 gallons of that. Let's see. I ran out of propane about 35 minutes into it, so I just went ahead and added all my hops and did a hop stand. Yay for experimentation. This is a bigger beer. It's a little darker in color, higher gravity. Came out to, let's see, OG was 1064, and this one I think is 1032. So right at about half. And that's with adding dry malt extract. So I skipped a lot of stuff right there at the end, cooling my wort. I don't have a wort chiller, a little coil copper deal. Cold water goes in, hot water comes out and chills the wort down. I don't have one of those, so I got a big Rubbermaid tote, and I put ice water in there, and I do an ice bath. It works out okay. It doesn't get as cold as is recommended, but we got it down there. It's right at about 95 degrees. They say don't pitch at that high of a temperature. Your ideal pitching temp is going to be whatever you're going to ferment at. But I've always pitched my yeast at about this temperature. Especially this USO5, it's recommended that you pitch it at a higher temperature so we can get started. It makes for a faster start in your fermentation. But let me go grab my yeast and we'll go ahead and pitch. Alright, here's the yeast starter that I made last night. So what we're going to do is we're going to swirl that around like that to get the yeast up into suspension solution like that. And then what I'm going to do is take this airlock off and the foil here. And I'm going to pour about 3/4 of this in here. Let's see, about 700 milliliters. 300 would be half. 350. See where we're at. Yeah, 400. That'll do. Get a little bit more. It's my main beer. What I'm concerned about. There we go. And leave some for the other one. Oh, come on. We'll put that. We'll affix that nice and tight for now. It's gonna come off of there. Same procedure. Give it a little swirl around, get all the yeast up in the suspension, and go ahead and dump her in. There we go. We now have a yeast infection. That was corny. Alright, I'd say in about 3 to 6 hours this should start seeing bubbles in the airlock, and by this time tomorrow, that one especially should be just blowing out of the top and high krausen like a volcano, which is why I have it sitting in this thing. I think I got enough headspace in this one to not have to worry about it. I think it'll come up to right here and stop, especially since there's not that much sugar. Alright, well, we'll see what happens. I'll do an update video when it's done. We'll continue with the all grain to glass video series all the way through how to keg, and we'll have a side-by-side comparison eventually, something I've never been able to do, so that'll be fun. Alright, well, thank y'all for watching, for joining me today, and please rate, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.